Hey everybody, thanks for coming to watch the show. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my favorite games of 2017. And I know it's kind of late in the year to do this. At this point, it's already almost February, but better late than never, as they say. And I'm just going to be talking to you about some games that I really enjoyed from last year. And a couple of them are ones that were somewhat smaller. They kind of flew under the radar for a lot of people. And you may have missed them, or you may have heard some bad things about some of these and just decided to skip them because of that. So I'm going to be telling you about these games and a little bit about why I thought they were really good and why I think that you should definitely play them. So let me know what your favorite games of 2017 were down in the comments, and let's get right into the list.
I hope you're ready.
The first game I want to talk to you guys about is For Honor, and while this game was really big when it first released and it made a big splash, it seemed like it died out really quick, and a lot of people just kind of gave up on it and said it didn't have much longevity to it. But I've been enjoying this game ever since it released, and since it released, it's really been updated quite a bit, and there's been a lot of changes to it to make it a better game all around. There's been a lot of frequent patches, and there's been also some free maps and different game modes that have been added to it. So if you picked it up on release and you didn't really enjoy it, maybe you thought they didn't pay enough for the duels, you didn't get enough coins to buy other things, you didn't get enough steel, or maybe there just wasn't enough maps, or it wasn't enjoyable in that respect. They have updated it quite a bit to make it a lot better. But even so, I thought that the game was really enjoyable upon release. It's a really unique fighting game, whereas with a lot of different combat games like Tekken or Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, it's really more about just memorizing combos or getting your opponent in a particular spot to try and like juggle them or something like that. But For Honor I found to be a lot more enjoyable because it's more of a kind of a strategy to try and take down your opponent. You have to really think about who you're fighting and the style that they're employing, because each character is very different in the way that they fight, and each one has a very different style that you have to kind of counter and figure out what the best way to take them down is. And I found that process to be really enjoyable in For Honor. For Honor is also really enjoyable because it's difficult to master the game, but it's not very hard to just pick it up and enjoy it. You don't have to be like a pro or somebody that plays it almost exclusively to be good at it. I can find that I will play this game for a week or two, and then I can put it down and not pick it up for a month and come back to it and still have a really good time, because even if I don't remember a whole lot of the moves, it's not that hard to just pick them back up and then get back in the swing of things. So this is something that you can enjoy whether you play it a lot or you just pick it up every once in a while and have a good time just doing a few different modes. And while we're talking about modes, there are a lot of variety of game modes in this game. If you want to just kind of attack on your own and go about it kind of solo style, you can do the versus game modes or the story mode. And if you want to team up with a friend, you can also do the brawl game mode. And there's also the bigger team matches like Dominion. So there's something here for everybody, and it really accommodates every type of play style. Something I also really enjoyed about For Honor is the really fun and deep customization and personalization that you can do to all your characters. Usually when you do a duel, you unlock a piece of armor or weapon or something that you can equip on your character, and there are a lot of kind of duplicates that you'll get in a lot of the matches, but every once in a while you'll get a really nice piece of armor or a really cool weapon, and it just kind of adds to the fun mechanics of the game where you're just always chasing that better loot. So if you're somebody that really likes that kind of thing, this game is definitely for you. So while a lot of people kind of gave up on this game and said that it didn't have much to it or it wasn't worth keeping tabs on and playing it for a long time, I think that this was definitely a really enjoyable game, and that's why it's one of my top picks for 2017.
Victory!
The next game I want to talk to you guys about is LEGO Worlds, and this game was really fun for me because this is the first LEGO game that I've played that actually lets you create whatever you want. And I say that because it seems like there's pretty much a LEGO game for every licensed property out there right now, but none of them actually lets you take LEGO pieces and piece together whatever that you're wanting to build, instead of just kind of holding down a button and letting it build a pre-designed set for you. LEGO Worlds pretty much just gives you the controls and says, build whatever you want. You have just as much fun as you can, because this is pretty much an open playground for you with as many Legos as you can handle. Which is really nice, because if you've looked at the prices of real Legos these days, this is probably your best bet if you want to just create something of your own design. Although I was kind of hesitant to play this because it says that it's randomly generated worlds in this game, I thought that LEGO Worlds did a really good job of populating their worlds on here and making it feel very alive, because there's always some kind of new creature to find and discover, or there's a new NPC to talk to and get their outfit for yourself, or just there's always some kind of quest for you to do to really fill up your inventory and feel like you're actually accomplishing something. It doesn't feel like you're just kind of running around doing nothing the whole time. There is a point to it, and there's a lot of fun to be had with this game. I think my favorite part about LEGO Worlds was the deep customization that you can do to your character and basically the entire world, because you can change the entire terrain, or shift things around to your liking, or copy certain things and then paste them and build something of your own, and you can piece together whatever kind of character you want from the various NPCs that you find in the game. So there's really just an unlimited amount of customization that you can do. If you'd like to hear more about LEGO Worlds, I actually did a full game review for this, and I think that it has pretty much everything that you'll need to know, and you can check that out on my channel anytime you want. But this game has a ton of content and a lot of fun to be had, and it is pretty cheap. I think brand new it was only $30, so at that price, or even cheaper now, which I'm sure it is, it's definitely worth it, and that's why it's one of my picks for the best games of 2017. If you're like me, when you first heard about Fortnite, you didn't think it was that impressive. I know when I heard about it, and it was just sort of said to be a sandbox survival game where you collect resources and try and fight hordes of zombies, you're just like, I've fought zombies before, I don't really want to do that. And I pretty much ignored this game until I heard about the release of the Battle Royale mode that they were going to be putting out. I'd heard a lot about PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on PC, and I really wanted to try it out, but at the time I didn't have a gaming PC, so Fortnite couldn't have come at a better time. With the release of their Battle Royale mode, they really sparked a new kind of interest into that gaming mode, because Battle Royale has pretty much taken over gaming lately, especially with a lot of people seeing all the cool things that have come out of PUBG, and they really just wanted to open that up to console players, and I think that it's really awesome that they did that, because if I hadn't been able to play Fortnite, I wouldn't have been able to play a Battle Royale game for quite a long time. Although when I first hopped into this game, I didn't really enjoy it that much. I played a lot of solo games, and I thought that it was really difficult to get anywhere by yourself. But once you start playing with friends, or you just get a little bit better at the game, it's really fun to just try and balance that awesome feeling of being able to build bases and also fight against people at the same time. So Fortnite definitely has a lot of fun to offer, and it's even better when you enjoy it with friends. So I definitely recommend that you do that if you can. A definite reason to give this game a try is the fact that it's completely free. You don't have to pay anything to play Battle Royale mode. So if someone's told you that you have to buy the actual Fortnite game to access Battle Royale, then just don't believe them, because this is a free game that you can get from the Steam Marketplace or PS4 or Xbox, just wherever you want. You can get it there for completely free, and it's really just a lot of fun. Even if it wasn't free, I think that this would be definitely worth playing, because there's a lot of good gameplay here, and there's a lot of room to grow. The developers have already added in a few new map features and some cool new weapons to the game, and I think that there's definitely a lot of potential, and I can't wait to see what else they add to the game to make it even better than it is. But even as is, this game is definitely great, and I'd really recommend that you try it out, and then that's why it's one of my favorite games of 2017. Battlefront 2 is a pretty controversial game. I know it upset a lot of people about all the microtransactions and the way that it was tied into the progression system, and so I know a lot of people just didn't even bother with this game, or some people were just so upset about that they played it for a little while and then just gave up because they couldn't stand the way that the game was set up. And I understand that the way that they've done the progression system is a little bit annoying, but I think a lot of people just took that and then they completely ignored the fact that this game is really awesome and it's a lot of fun if you can get past all those other things. There's a lot of fun for somebody that loves Star Wars in this game, and I've had countless hours of enjoyment out of it, just being able to enjoy the different game modes that have been brought back from previous Battlefront games, as well as some new ones that they've added in and improved. I think DICE really did listen to their fans somewhat coming off of the last game, because as I said, a lot of things are better and improved, especially the space combat, which was, unless you had DLC, completely absent from Battlefront 1, but it's been completely revamped and redone by a new studio that came in and made space combat quite a bit more fun. I'm still not that great at it, but it's a lot of fun either way to just hop into an X-Wing or a TIE fighter and see how much damage you can do. I think if you can get past the various issues that Battlefront 2 has and you just kind of enjoy it for what it is, especially given the fact that it clearly is made for Star Wars fans to enjoy, then you can have a lot of fun with this just like I did. And that's why it's one of my favorite games of 2017. That clip probably tells you everything you need to know about Sniper Elite, but if you haven't played any of these games, I'm just going to tell you a few reasons why this one is so great. If you have played the previous Sniper Elite games, the basic formula is still the same with Sniper Elite 4, but this game has definitely upped the ante quite a bit. There's bigger maps, more weapons, and even more ways to approach your targets and complete the objectives than there were before. The new maps add a lot of depth and a lot of different ways to kind of go about the objectives, and there's a lot of fun little side missions that you can also accomplish in these big maps. The addition of the X-ray melee kills has also added in a fun way to stealthily take out your targets, and it makes trying to get your objectives done in a stealthy fashion even more rewarding. But even if you don't really like stealth, you can still have fun with this game, as you can usually hold your own if things go south and you have to get into a firefight. The story, however, is pretty basic for this game. There's not a whole lot to it, but the gameplay is where it really shines, and it's worth checking out if you like third-person shooters. There's also a fun little multiplayer mode where you can test your sniping skills against other players, but I mostly stuck to the single-player mode, and I had a great time with this game. There's a lot of enjoyment to be had here, and if you're looking for a fun single-player game all about sniping and tactically taking out whole groups of enemies one by one, then Sniper Elite 4 is without a doubt for you, and that's why it's one of my favorite games of 2017. Ghost Recon Wildlands had a lot of hype around it when it first released, but I don't hear a whole lot of people talking about it anymore. But it was one of my favorite games of last year, and I think one of the big reasons for that is because it's really fun when you can get together with your friends and have a good squad going and accomplish missions as a team. But even so, if you don't have a group that you can play with, it's still really fun because the AI squad that you're assigned with is still really good, and they can help you accomplish missions with no problem. There's a lot of side missions to the game. In fact, there's hundreds of them. And there's bases to bring down, underbosses to assassinate or interrogate, guns to collect and customize, and a lot of different interesting areas to explore in the map, which is absolutely huge. And there's a ton of variety in it for you to explore. Each different terrain has a lot of different challenges for you to overcome, such as picking out the best camo or figuring out how to approach a target. And it's just a lot of fun to just explore the map. Wildlands is a great game for anyone that's a fan of the Ghost Recon series and anyone who loves third-person shooters or open-world games, and that's why it's one of my favorite games of 2017.
Take it easy, okay? Cálmate, pues. Let's talk about this. Maybe we can make a deal, you and me.
You want a deal? Fight.
Tekken has always been a fun game series with some of the best combat in any fighting game out there, and it's no different with 7. There's a lot of old and new characters, and the amount of customization in this game is insane. Not only can you completely change the styles of your characters, you can make them look as almost like they're not even the same character when you're done customizing them. Tekken 7 still has the same smooth and polished gameplay that fans of the series know and love, and it's at its best in this installment in my opinion. I've always loved Tekken because it's really easy to pick up and just kind of button mash and have fun, but it also has incredible depth for each character, and it really takes a long time to truly master this game. Tekken 7 has a lot of fun things built into it as well, such as the ability to listen to each game's soundtrack from the original Tekken all the way up to the newest one, and it has some fun game modes in it, such as Treasure Hunt, where you can unlock cosmetic upgrades for your characters by beating opponents, and it even has a bowling minigame if you decide to buy the DLC package. Tekken has always been a really fun and engaging game series, and it's at its best in Tekken 7, and that's why it's one of my favorite games of 2017.
A ranger and a wraith bound together in death.
Shadow of Mordor was an incredibly fun game that seemingly came out of nowhere in 2013, and it completely blew me away with how fun it was. The sequel is no different, and it brings even more to the table than before, with fun new abilities, gameplay mechanics, and making the Nemesis system even more fleshed out and in-depth than it was before. There's even more ways to control and combat orcs in this installment, and the customization and loot system is completely outstanding. Taking out captains in the hope of getting some awesome new armor or weapons makes the gameplay even more addicting than it was before, because there's that added bonus of getting some awesome loot if you can defeat the captains. The combat is once again super fun and smooth, and taking on hordes of orcs has never felt more fun than it does in this game. Shadow of War also has a really great story, and it brings to light a lot of interesting facts about the Lord of the Rings world, which is great for anyone who's a fan of Tolkien's work. While it may take some liberties with the mythology of Middle-earth, Shadow of War is still a really great game and a must-play for anyone that loves the fast-play, gritty gameplay of the first one, and that's why it's one of my favorite games of 2017. The last game on my list is arguably one of the best games in recent years, not just 2017. Origins takes things a step further and becomes not just a really good Assassin's Creed game, but a great game in general. I haven't played an open world game as alive and densely packed with things to do and things to see since The Witcher 3, and I think Origins is almost as great as that game was. With the disappointing last two games in the series with Unity and Syndicate, I was kind of worried that Assassin's Creed might be on the rocks and wouldn't ever return to its former glory, but Origins really turned things around. Being able to climb the pyramids 1 minute, dive for buried treasure the next, and then ride your camel through the desert makes for some incredibly entertaining gameplay, and the fact that Origins has an awesome story mode and some really fun and interesting side quests makes things even better. Assassin's Creed Origins is a fantastic game, and if you haven't played it, I would definitely recommend that you do. It's one of my favorite games of 2017, and if you play it, I think it'll be one of yours too. Well, that's going to about do it for my picks for 2017's best games. It took me a ton of time to get all of the footage and the commentary for all these games done, so I really appreciate everybody that stuck around and listened to the whole thing. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like, and also comment what your favorite games for last year were, and tell me if you enjoyed any of these games that I mentioned. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope that you guys have a great new year.